9 billion Ghana cedis was paid, bringing a total of, I think, 18 billion paid so far in domestic debt that the Akufo-Addo regime could not pay. And this government has paid. Nobody is discussing that. So to me, this GTEC, whether by their design, whether by our people themselves falling into the trap, is a needless distraction. So for me, if the deputy, look, I'm not saying she does not earn or she did not earn the professorial title. No, that's not my beef. But what I'm saying is that where the fight is getting to, it is becoming a distraction to both her work and the work of the government.
Okay.
So I would have advised her that, look, yield to them for now. Let this pipe down. After a while, we pick the fight somewhere else. So for me, I think it's a needless fight. She's not my client. I wish I could tell her this. But the Senior David Ametepe is also a very good lawyer. I know he's also giving very good counsel. So let's leave that. But on the other side, it's a needless distraction.
You mentioned earlier that, well, did they just wake up to start knowing or noticing that people are using titles that they're not supposed to use? GTEC is supposed to respond to some of these things. But unfortunately, like I stated earlier, they just called on the 11th hour. That's Professor Augustine Ocloo, who's the Deputy Director General. I mean, just on the 11th hour that he has an emergency, so he can't make it. That's quite unfortunate. But just to do my job here, I don't think they just woke up to do that. Because I remember very well, they've had a series of communication statements they've issued that, well, you just don't call yourself a doctor or a professor. You need to earn it. They've even gone against institutions that are giving out such, that if nothing happens...
No, but I think that the rate at which it's going, and currently, if you look at it, they only appear to be targeting, whether it's perception or it's real, they only appear to be targeting NDC
members of the
members, yes.
But Hassan Ayariga is not...
yes, of course. Hassan Ayariga, we sort of know that he's not pro...
There's a the Guta president is also not an NDC.
Yes,
president.
I mean, of course, you need to bring in one or two so that it appears like you are not being biased or arbitrary. But again, you look at Dr. Computer Tanko.
Computer, yeah.
Yes, you notice that he's not been using it, he's piped down, life is moving on smoothly. Now, you also notice that the way they appear to go by their work, why are you writing to the Chief of Staff when you are dealing with Dr. Ayensu? Why? You are not dealing with her in her capacity as the Deputy Minister. That is why you are going to her appointor. By the way, you have not... Is the law saying that write to the person's employer? Why were they writing to the Speaker of Parliament? Why were they writing to the Chief of Staff? That is where the intention they have, that the intention doesn't appear to be pure. If they should have dealt with him. I read Manasseh's brief, where he said they tried to have a quiet meeting with...
Because there's been communication between
a quiet meeting with her.
Yes.
Now, again, Professor Ocloo would have been the right person here to tell us if some of those things are taking place. Now, if you have tried to have such a discussion with her and it has not yielded anything, why do you bring it out to the public if the person has not challenged the idea that you are trying to have that meeting and the meeting didn't take place? So for me, I think that the way they go by this has not been very good. It has not been cordial. Has not been... Again, there are people who are pointing out that the head of GTEC was appointed by another government, so he's doing the bidding.
No, but
of that
he was appointed in the previous government, yes. But there's a fixed term for that 4 years.
Yes.
So he's still within that fixed term.
He's still within the fixed term.
Yes.
But people are of the view that, hey, he's doing a bidding somewhere to embarrass a group of people. But the bigger question I asked yesterday is that, why do you use them if it's not needed? I'll give you a personal example. If you get, like, come on, if I want to have 3 masters in 3 different fields, if I want to do PhD, it's a matter of going to do PhD. I want to study and get my title as doctor. But for now, it is not my priority. So the question I'm asking myself is, why are people using all these titles for what? Is it for image enhancing? Is it for getting some form of clout? And in any case, you meet someone who says he's a reverend, he's a doctor, and the person speaks hollow, nothing. You can't make head and tail out of all that the person is discussing. And you meet someone who holds only BSc or BA, and we can sustain conversation with you, make good discussion. So where are we going with all these titles? What will it add? I mean, without downplaying if you read achievements or the school and the work done by the deputy minister, it's so sweet.
Yeah, she's done a lot of work.
She's done a lot of work.
She's done a lot of work for humanity.
Yes, and she's earned a lot of certificates.
Yeah.
So for me, the only thing that appears to be bringing a blot, be it by design, be it by her own action, be it by somebody trying to do it, is this professor thing. And I tell you what, if she takes out of the professor out of it, she still looks very good. I wish my daughters are like that. I mean, just look at it. The O level, the A level, the first degree, I mean, the sort of work, it looks so beautiful. So I don't actually know all the others who might be using doctors, etc. Some just, one morning you wake up, the person says, I'm now a doctor. Some even got their PhD. That the mode and approach being used by GTEC is a bit...
What would you have suggested that they do?
A bit of the quiet diplomacy.
But they are doing quiet. They started with the quiet diplomacy.
George, you are crying more than the bereaved.
No,
the bereaved was supposed
unfortunately,
to be,
because the GTEC person is not here.
Yes.
But that also shouldn't stop me from doing my job. So
yes, I agree that that shouldn't stop you. But I think that because we don't have the chance or the privilege of listening to the other side, and you see, sometimes all this media banter hides the real truth.
Yeah.
Because you read, when I read Senior Davis' response, it was so sweet. Then yesterday when I was reading that of Manasseh, it was also sweet. Then I'm like, there's the truth in there somewhere that nobody is bringing out for us to get out of it. And you will notice that if GTEC were a private organization, ask yourself how much has been spent on just the deputy minister. How much effort, how much resources they've spent on just that one, when there are other functions of GTEC to be done. So to me, I think the approach GTEC is using is not really good. Let them take the details from the lady, go back to the universities, get body say.
The universities is an adjunct professor.
Yes. So is it an adjunct professor in the sense?
In our interpretation, I understand that.
In Ghana, they will say she's a senior lecturer. Not even to the level. I saw your, I think, whether she's still with you, Sarah Kwaku.
Yes, Sarah Kwaku.
Yes.
She's at the School of Communications now.
As what?
She's a lecturer there.
I saw adjunct professor. You see, I saw adjunct professor.
Actually, she'll be delivering a lecture tomorrow.
Yes.
As part
and
of
on the flyer, I saw adjunct professor.
As part of our 90th anniversary, she'll be delivering a lecture
tomorrow. Yes, I saw adjunct professor. So the thing I'm trying to do is, it has made it that people are so cautious and people are so careful what they use. I appeared on a sister program and someone said, hey, Dr. Teo, and the person said, sorry, I'm withdrawing it. It's actually Mr. I say, yes, I love that. Then the person said, receive it. You might be the doctor soon. Anyway, it made, there was a lecturer there that someone said, Professor, I said, no, I'm a doctor. So, yes, there is sanity that people will be cautious before they use the titles. But we have millions of institutions that give all these awards until the person comes into the public fore, like the way maybe Hassan Yariga or the deputy minister. People are still using their titles.
Yeah.
I saw the Assemblies of God. Anyway, they issued a statement that people should be careful.
Their pastors.
Yes, the pastors.
To desist from using honorary degrees given.
You notice too that the use of the doctor had been very common among the spiritual fraternity. The Reverend Dr. Bishops have been very common among them. It also brings to the fore the image-enhancing thing about the title. One person that I so much admire, having not used any of those titles, was Jerry Rawlings. He had at least two.
Yeah.
He never used any. We never saw Jerry Rawlings put out any. But I believe that if we want to search carefully, there are people who also have the same thing. But you see, I read somewhere today, I may be wrong, that the current head of GTEC only had 3 publications to his name.
Like I say, you may be wrong, so let's just...
I may be wrong.
So...
Then I also, you know, if we
But he's a professor.
Yes, he's a professor.
His deputy who disappointed us is also a professor.
Yes. If you take the amount of work a typical hard-working lawyer does, in terms of writing briefs, researching, going to court. A lot of us qualified to be professors. Yes, maybe I should also get my names on people's publications 3 or 4 times, then I'll apply for professorship. You don't have to climb all the levels to get the professorial title. Yes, maybe we should. But the good part of what GTEC is doing is that there is a bit of sanity, or there's a wind blowing, that be careful whatever title you use. And you saw that of the Hassan Yariga, where he was challenging them.
Yes.
That's why you in the media, when I am here, you come back, come to me, let's have that discussion. So I think that, but they should also look at their core mandate. What is their core mandate?
But it's part of, this is part of their core mandate.
Yes, the bigger one, the accreditation, etc. They should look at.
Talking about their core mandate,
well,
I mean, if you look at the Education Regulatory Bodies Act 2020 for GTEC education in all its forms, with education institutions.
Section?
Section 2.
Okay.
Section 2. That's A. So B also says that principles of the provision of consistent quality of service by tertiary education institutions. C, advancement and application of knowledge through teachings, scholarly research, and collaboration with industry and the public sector. You get the C, that advancement and application of knowledge through teaching, research, and then collaboration with industry. And then D, the development of appropriate human capital for the sustainable advancement of the national economy. So this all forms parts of its.
Yeah, but you don't find anywhere where their duty is really to verify and chase people for their
it's
their
part
degrees.
of this regulatory role.
Yes, I mean where.
So regulation
where,
is all part
yes,
of it. So
yes,
it's all part of regulation.
Yes, they have. You see the objects of the commission and their functions.
Yes.
The functions include general
advisory,
coordinating, regulatory, accreditation, and any other
function.
Now, assuming that the regulatory, what they are doing currently falls under regulatory, and it is not defined anywhere within the law, then you would have been expecting that they will have like an ally to regulate such an regulatory function. There will be a subordinate legislation to regulate it. We don't have anything like that. But maybe they are taking some of their actions from the previous one, which was the National Accreditation Board. Maybe the functions of those ones have been imported into this one.
Section 7 talks about the regulatory functions of the Commission. It says it includes ensure the implementation of approved regulation and national standards and norms with respect to tertiary education institutions, approve the establishment of tertiary education institutions. C, regulates the structure of tertiary education in the country. D, develop policies and regulation to advance the conduct of research.
I think we can go to I.
Okay, so I says that receive annual reports from tertiary education institutions.
No, 7I says.
Oh, okay. So L talks about verify authenticity of all certificates, diplomas, and degrees upon request. Okay, so
yes, but I would have said that upon request, isn't it? Not when I read it. I said I'm handling the situation. Then I also on the defensive.
Yeah,
you don't expect that they will come to you smiling, etc. No, you put them on the defensive. So when you do a lot of the background relationship, communication, etc., before you meet the persons or you come out, then there are some they can resolve without anybody hearing about it. And I believe they might have resolved a number of them without anybody hearing. So I think that they should go on that tangent. I understand also that particularly for the deputy,
yes.
and that has been, but they have taken this on too much. And again, this is a distraction to government work. So let's move on from this and do other things.
Okay, all right. I'll shortly be joined by Kamal-Deen Abdulai. Musah Ahmed will also join us. We are live on Unique 95.7 and live across the 16 regions of this country and our various regional FM stations. We're moving to our next subject, which has got to do with the fight against corruption. The Office of the Special Prosecutor yesterday came out with its mid-year report. The Office of the Special Prosecutor in its report disclosed that it has extensively probed into the former Sanitation and Water Resources Minister, Cecilia Dapa, involving parallel investigations by the United States, that's the FBI. They found no direct and immediate evidence of corruption regarding large sums of money and valuable items seized from her and her associates. To go further into that particular report on Cecilia Dapa, it says that we recall that the office commenced investigation in July 2023 in respect of suspected corruption and corruption-related offences regarding large amounts of money and other valuable items involving Ms. Cecilia Dapa and the former Minister of Sanitation, Water Resources and her associates. After nearly 7 months of extensive investigation by the office and a parallel inquiry by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is FBI in the United States, no direct and immediate evidence of corruption was found in respect of seized funds and frozen bank accounts linked to Ms. Dapa and her associates. Now, though the investigation identifies strong indication of suspected money laundering and structuring beyond the direct mandate of the office. So that's that bit also coming in there. And the special prosecutor touched further that we need a whole chapter on corruption, even within our constitution, to touch on these corruption-related issues and how best to handle it. So let me go to the phone lines now, quickly talk to Musah Ahmed on some of these developments, and then we'll continue with our conversation with our guests here in the studio. Lawyer Ahmed, good morning to you. Good morning, Lawyer. Hello, Lawyer Ahmed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Very well. And how are you also doing?
I'm very well.
All right, and thank you very much for joining us. One of our guests here, that's Theophilus Dzimega. He says he has some very kind words to say about you, that he's been communicating with you for some time now when it comes to the profession and some legal advices he's been getting from you. He's not met you in person, though, but he was glad to get to know that you're joining the panel via Zoom this morning, and he's here with us.
Okay. Good morning to him.
Okay.
Good morning, Senior. I hope you are doing well.
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm privileged to share the same platform with you. Fantastic.
Oh, come on.
All right. Before we go to the special prosecutors' issues and the other ones too, let me have your take on the GTEC playing its regulatory role and ensuring that the space there is a bit clean, and some of the challenges that some of these individuals have with the role and the kind of position.
Yeah, well, I have listened to what my respected colleague has posited. Now, my view of the matter is that what they are doing appears to be selective justice. You see, there are so many people using the acronyms and the titles in Ghana. Some of them have just assumed the title without reference to any academic institution having conferred same on them. According to a former US President, Thomas Jefferson, he says that the law is equal for all. And that means that when you are applying the law or the rules to a particular situation, you must make sure that you are fair within the meaning of our Constitution in Article 296, that when you are empowered to exercise discretionary power, you must be candid, you must be fair, you must do justice to all manner of persons. What are we seeing? Why are they selecting only political names to more or less function with them in respect of their functions? Why are they selecting only political characters? Why are they not looking outside politics with a statement that when you use a title which is not yours, in the academic circle, they call it stealing of title or is fraud. I would agree to that. But have they given the individual persons they have called into question their titles the opportunity to be heard? The law is that even if a person has committed an offense or is assumed to have committed an offense, the principle has always been presumption of innocence. And then also there is the principle, overriding principle of law, that you have to give the person the opportunity to be heard. Have we done that? Why do we like this business of going into the public domain to tarnish the reputation of persons without giving them the opportunity to be heard, only to turn around later to find that the attack on the person's reputation, damaging his dignity as a person, has already been done? So in my opinion, they must clarify the situation. They must let the rule of law work. They must be guided by the principles of fairness, justice, and fair play. I do not subscribe to a situation where public office holders use their powers, their discretionary powers, as if they are in a boxing ring, seeking to win by all means and throwing punches at individuals without giving them the opportunity to also speak. They tie their hands behind them, and they are just talking because they are using a public platform, they are using public resources, taxpayers' money unlawfully and unjustly. I think we should not behave as if we have no laws in our country. The laws must govern, must rule. Public office holders are no more human beings than any other human being. The Constitution sets the parameters of office holders to perform their functions in a fair and just manner.
Ed, on the bits about giving them a fair hearing, from GTEC's position, they contacted some of them and told them on the quiet that no, they're not supposed to use such titles. But unfortunately, they didn't adhere to these advice of words coming from GTEC. So it's not that they did not give them the hearing, find out and reach out to them. That
is not known to us. They should put out the information. And in any case, I don't think their functions require that they should come to the public to come and make their case. They should write to the individuals or to the institutions, because if you read the law, it talks about institutions. The institutions are the ones that confer the titles on individuals. They're written to institutions to ascertain the veracity of the titles they are using. Have they done so? And if they have so, have they made it public to us? Just making public in the reputations of those individuals without giving them the fair hearing. Have they done so?
Let's move on to, but just hold on for me. I've been joining the studio by Kamal-Deen. We can move to our next conversation, which is going to be on the Office of a Special Prosecutor. Thank you.
Good morning. Why was the commission set up? Why did Ghana find the need to say that we need to have a commission that will be in charge of accreditation, that will be in charge of monitoring our academic laurels in the society and all that? It was because we wanted them to work. For me, when GTEC started biting, I said, but that should have been done long ago. Were they sleeping? You get what I mean? It should have been done long ago, because one of your mandates was to ensure that you sanitize the system, the society for us. So what approach? You see, you may see someone using a particular title. Unknown to you is that the ignorance of the person allows him to use it. He doesn't even know. Okay. I was maybe called to by an institution. Honorary doctorate has been conferred on me. I do not know to what extent that falls our society. So if GTEC was up and doing earlier, that person would be in the known and would not even use the title. So you don't now harshly now say that let me approach it in this way, in this manner. One, you were put up to ensure that the system is sanitized. Second, you are put up to ensure that you accredit every single organization, or you also attest to someone whose laurels have been presented to you. Then thirdly, you were put up to ensure that, look, every single person using a title which is supposed to be academically oriented is supposed to do so. These are things you needed to let us know. So I think that, yes, better late than never, like I said earlier on. However, they should also look at the approach properly. Coming publicly with some of these things will not help us that much.
No, but they warn. They warn. That yes. I need to put it for you. They warn that people should desist from using it.
Okay.
They've not earned it.
And they wrote.
And they gave them.
And
they gave them a period.
Wrote to some particular people.
They gave them a period, a deadline that if you don't do this, our next stage is going to be name and shame. Absolutely.
So fine. I mean, yes, if that is what it is, then it means that they are on track. GTEC, I've always asked myself a question. Why do we need these titles even in society? Look, driving from the area I stay to this place, I asked myself on this rough road, a road that I would have to ply and later go to the fitting shop with my vehicle. And I am going to discuss who is a professor and who is not a professor and who is a doctor and who is not a doctor with the country. We sit in this country. An engineer where STEM is given a boost. An engineer goes to work in a Lacoste, in a jeans. You see an engineer here who, of course, has a flat tire and cannot even change that flat tire by himself. And he calls himself a mechanical engineer. No, you see, there are people like that. So I'm saying that the titles of our people and to better our lot as a people, graciously, honorably, drop it and move on. That just stops that. Drop it. I don't see, it doesn't take anything away from you.
We like titles.
I don't know. I'm surprised.
We like titles.
Honestly, then look for them the right way. If you want titles, you enjoy those titles, look for them in the right manner.
It is supposed to be used. If you are displaying your PhD or non-existing PhD in a university, then it's a problem. But if you are displaying your non-existing PhD, let's say in my mother's kitchen, it's not a problem. That's the sort of thing I am saying. Well, it's not a problem. Yes. Okay. To me, you have bigger things to face.
Okay. Let's talk about the Office of the Special Prosecutor and its mid-year report. And one of the cases which has got to do with Madam Cecilia Dapa. And I'm going to start with you on this, Musah Ahmed, on this particular. The office has disclosed that in its extensive probe into the former sanitation and water resource minister's case, which also involved the FBI, there was no direct and immediate evidence of corruption regarding the large sums of money and valuable items seized from her and her associates, although there are suspected cases or some bit of suspicion in there concerning money laundering. The special prosecutor was also a bit concerned that we need an elaborate law that can handle corruption in its own sense. Ahmed, on the case concerning Cecilia Dapa, does it come to you as a surprise that, according to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, there's no immediate evidence of corruption regarding that amount of money found in her home?
There has always been a call for institutions to be given a free hand to work. Now, I'm not working with a special prosecutor. I'm not a member and I don't pretend to be part of their office, but they are in the sea and they have seen the fish. They know the varieties of fish that they have seen under the seabed. So it plays into the statement that an accused must be presumed to be innocent until he or she has been proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. At this level, we are talking about investigation. The principles apply there, mutatis mutandis, as the lawyers will say it. Even if they found in the minister's residence did not have any taint of corruption, then I think we should trust the institution because we have put it in place in an act. for them to do their work. For me, I will respect their findings until a superior finding contradicts, is guilty of any offense. That is my position with regards to the law. People should be given the benefit of the doubt, because whenever an accused person has been subjected to a trial or even an investigation, it will be resolved in favor of the accused person. So in this case, is there a doubt? Did they mislead the public? That may be a question that's a legitimate question that Ghanaians may want to ask, because initially they gave out the impression that the woman had done something wrong. But on the other hand, I also saw some writings to the effect that the matter was referred to Iyoko,
Yes.
and they failed to do their work.
Yes.
It's also a fair comment.
It was also in the report, actually. It was also in the report that the matter was referred to Iyoko. And then in May 2024, Iyoko returned the entire docket. That's this in May 2024, returned the entire docket back to the office, reasoning that since money laundering is not a substantive offense, but a collateral offense which must be founded on a predicted offense, Iyoko did not have the mandate to commence investigation into the matter, since it could not premise its investigation on any predicate offense. Then, on the 14th of May 2025, the new leadership of Iyoko requested the office to forward the docket back to Iyoko for a review and commencement of investigation. So this is where we see.
In all the Commonwealth jurisdictions that I have known, the United States, Britain, Australia, and other places, you know, there's always, they can even have a cold fire. In the US, they will investigate a case for many years without establishing any facts. They put it aside. Years later, they go back for the same file. And then new findings establish that an offense was indeed committed. So I will not ask them to relent, because this is a fight against corruption. If we don't fight corruption, corruption will fight us. So I do agree with the new development. One, for reasons that the accused person herself requires her name to be cleared if indeed she has not done anything unlawful. She requires that her name is redeemed because she has been battered for so long. And to the minds of most Ghanaians, she's corrupt. She's been found to be corrupt because they found that the news media, the investigations. The other aspect of it, which is also an advantage to the state, is to ensure that nothing was done to, as it were, cover up. I'm using that word, in the interest of the state, that if we are fighting corruption and not corruption fighting us back, then we must be deep. At this stage, Iyoko should take his time to investigate the matter properly. If they believe that the initial investigations were not conducted properly, they should do it properly, so the state will also have a benefit. Even if it results in the woman being cleared totally, it also gives a precedent for the state to follow, that merely finding money in the hands of anybody or at the residence of somebody does not automatically lead to the establishment of a crime or corruption. So it has advantages for both the state and the individual who is at the center of the investigation.
All right, but when it comes to the fight against corruption, because usually when cases of such really comes up and you send it to court, proving is another issue. And coming out that, okay, this person is corrupt and is being prosecuted based on these corruption charges.
Yeah, I think our laws are very adequate. In fact, our laws could, if you were conducting a competition, a beauty contest, our law would be at, if not first, it will be within the first 10 in terms of corruption.